if you purchase a guitar, no matter if you're a 60-year-old blues lawyer and you spend $7,000 on a guitar, or if you're a 7-year-old kid that spends 200 euros on his hard-earned money, I want when they open the case or the cardboard box, I want them to have a smile on their face.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Andy.
How's the Guitar Summit for you?
It just opened, so I assume it's great.
Good.
No,
well,
it is. It really is.
It is great because we're going to talk guitars, and furthermore, we're going to talk Ibanez guitars. Have you got any?
Yeah.
Couple, yeah. There's a load, but we're going to talk about the J Customs in specific. Before we do, just so the person watching this knows, what is the J Custom series?
The J Custom series is like the quintessential Ibanez Made in Japan series that features like all the bells and whistles that you would expect from a Ibanez guitar that's been made in Japan. And especially with the custom shop, we have the opportunity to come up with like quirky ideas or designs that we could usually not recreate in mass production, but like as one-offs or small runs, that's possible. And this is why we also have like 4 special guitars for Guitar Summit every year. And I think we're going to take a closer look at them, right?
Absolutely. So this first one, Robin, get in close there. Have a look at this whilst we talk about it. Dan, what is this?
That is a beautiful guitar. That's called the RG22401JC. So we are keeping it rather simple. Okay. It's just a sequential number, 2024-01 JC J Custom. Okay. So this is number 1. What's so cool about this one is that, it's divisive. There are a lot of people that completely love that look, and there are a lot of people that do not really like it, but I'm a big fan if you like have a guitar where you're using just parts of wood and then you fill in the spaces in between with resin. And in that instance, it's transparent resin, so you can actually see the wood. If you look at the side of the guitar, and a super special feature, they even went with transparent cavity covers, so you can actually look inside the guitar and see how it's been made. You've got a little bit of a hole
swimming
here,
pool area.
a swimming pool area.
A little dip in.
Yeah, I mean, this guitar is it looks like nature, right? This is like Mother Nature in a guitar.
When you say that, is this dyed, or is that actually as the wood is?
No, this is dyed. Like this is an Ibanez specific color.
Okay, because I thought you meant there was like a wood actually.
No.
I was ready to believe you.
The wood is actually poplar burl.
Uh-huh.
So you can see that here, like the burl qualities.
Yeah.
And then this has been stained, and this always reminds me of a sunset in Japan. I was my first visit in Japan where we're going by bus, and then the sun would set, and I was just looking at the sea, and then immediately that color came to my mind. I was like, damn, that's like as if they took that color scheme and applied it on a guitar. Yeah, 100%.
To me, it reminds me of a mucky Neapolitan ice cream that's melted in the sunshine.
Okay, like ice in the sunshine?
Like ice in the sunshine.
All right, there you go. That's your thumbnail title. Yeah, other than that, we've got DiMarzio 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 HSH pickup configuration, low pro edge. Like I said, this is like the quintessential Ibanez guitar, 3-piece neck. We've got the beautiful vine inlay.
How heavy is it?
Oh, it's rather lightweight.
I was expecting that to be super heavy. It isn't.
Yeah.
So, in terms of tone, are you going to get these sort of tones also from other RG series? And this is just like the sort of bells and whistles beauty additions, or
the tones? Because this is with the DiMarzio HSH configuration. This is the Ibanez pickup configuration. So you would get the usual or the prototypical tones that you would expect from an Ibanez RG, but with the J Custom line, you've got those additional 5% of craftsmanship, of feeling. It's like it's just when you have that right in front of you, it's like, oh,
let's good on you. Let's good on you. You should pick that one up.
Yeah. So,
but let's move on to the next one. If you're watching and you're an Ibanez fan, these will be available to buy via Meinl in Germany, or
retailers in Europe. Yeah,
retailers in Europe.
Yeah, we haven't decided yet on the pricing, and we haven't decided yet on how to distribute them, but that will be available soon. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our next one, Dan.
Yeah.
This I haven't seen the other two, so this is the second time I've seen this, but this is my favorite of these two so far, just purely from looks.
All right. So this is sequential number 2. So the 2024-02 JC, RG 2024-02 JC. And what they have been using on this special model is Hawaiian koa. So these are pieces of Hawaiian koa, and then in between we have that kind of orange resin to give it a very, almost mystical vibe.
I don't name my guitars. People name their guitars, and I don't. But if I owned that, I would call it cola.
Cola?
Yeah, because it reminds me of a glass of cola that
All right.
you know that you're looking through the glass.
Okay.
And I don't ever name guitars, but for some reason,
Okay. So they went with Hawaiian cola, and
and there's that link, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I
what's
could see myself playing that.
Yeah, of course. And what I really like is that they, usually apply some like small idiosyncrasies that make those guitars special. And in that instance, they went with the vine inlay, and they went with this kind of orange look on the vines, and that's really cool. It adds just a little bit of an X factor to that model, right? Other than that, we are talking about a similar configuration with the DiMarzio pickups. We have a 3-piece 𝗬𝗚𝗡𝗪 maple neck. Of course, it has that iconic Ibanez Custom Shop logo on the back on the headstock.
You have to be careful when we're listening to Dan because he puts lots of adjectives in there, like beautiful, iconic, stunning, exciting.
Incredible.
So just not filter them out, but
Just
I don't disagree with you.
feel the energy, right?
Yeah, he loves his job.
honest.
He loves Ibanez, and he's so lucky to have landed a dream job, right? So
Yeah, of course. And I own a custom shop guitar myself, so I know what the difference is between regular line and custom shop. So
one thing you haven't mentioned that is so mind-blowing to me about these guitars is the fret ends.
Yes.
The work on these fret ends, Robin, if you wouldn't mind coming in a little bit.
that is super.
That is when it kind of ruined me with other guitars because I know the price difference and it's the hours and skill that goes into these. But once I'd seen examples such as this, that's a benchmark that I think, is it as good as that Ibanez technique that I've seen?
Yeah, and that actually puts a lot of pressure on us because then people, they will judge us by this as a standard, and then they will go like, okay, so why is that €999 guitar not playing as good as these ones? And we're like, okay, we try, our QC guys, roll the edges, make them smooth and nice. Yeah, I mean, this is like, they spend hours on these necks, they spend hours on these
And
guitars.
years learning the technique, right?
Of course. The team is a small team that builds these guitars, and Nick Sugimoto, the master luthier who's, overseeing everything, he's just like, he's got a history, and he's building the most incredible pieces, like this.
Well, I haven't seen the next two. I'm excited to move on to the third in the four.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So we'll just ask to, hello.
Oh, nice to see you.
All right. Oh, okay. Can I do this bit?
Of course.
Okay.
What do you
So we've got a quintessential Ibanez design with a rather stunning flim-flam and
Flim flam?
yeah.
Flim flam?
This is the flim-flam.
Okay.
What is it?
Okay. So we're talking about that's a first because
That is flat. Look how flat that is.
Because this is a low pro edge tremolo. On the other ones we had edge tremolos, and this is a low pro, so it's got a low profile. That's actually like the first iteration of the edge design, because some people, they were complaining that those screws are a little bit in the way. So Ibanez came up with an idea, so it's even lower, so it keeps a low profile.
Sweating is it's that good.
Yeah. I mean, whew, it's exciting. But what's this is a first because this is the first J Custom guitar that we have that has kind of racing stripes, and these racing stripes are not colored. These are actual filled with resin. So we've got an exotic maple top, and then we've got those stripes that are made.
Are they routed out and then filled with resin?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know.
Can we see?
You can see that here.
Oh yeah,
And,
that's interesting.
That is super interesting. I think it adds to a vibe because it looks a little bit less blues lawyer-ish. And it's more rock and roll with that, It doesn't necessarily look like a guitar that would just be played in your living room. So I could totally
that's
see
a stage
this
guitar
being played on stage, despite being, of course, very fancy and probably not as simplistic as some people might like. But if you're looking for something that's, again, like you coined it, like quintessential, just get everything you want in an Ibanez, I think this is it. And yeah, I'm really digging those.
Wooden binding?
Of course, that's flamey wooden binding. Yeah,
it's a beautiful guitar. That is more than an instrument. It's when these builders get to really show off and not drop the guitar.
No, not dropping.
That's beautiful. It's not for me. Like I still prefer Cola over there.
Cola, okay.
But I think that's a better instrument. Just from knowing what I know and looking at the things that I look.
Okay. Oh, we might have to do some sort of a shootout, J Custom shootout.
Yeah, let's get someone who can play guitar for that.
All right, and that's the last one. That's
so similar theme.
Similar theme.
But a evil twin.
Evil twin, yeah, because here we've got that black resin that has those kind of flaky, shiny parts in it. So it's very reflective. but still, I don't know, reduced, a little bit less flashy than the other ones.
It is
maybe.
less flashy,
Yeah?
but I like understated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like that. I once got a kind of finish on a Les Paul that I did with this and like some dye and then sanded it back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was obviously not quite up to this standard, but I recognize how they've done that. And what I'm trying to say is the amount of work that I did to get that guitar to look like that, I can imagine only how much work's gone into this and love.
Yeah.
That's the thing about for me and Ibanez, even at your, this is going to sound very Dan now, but even at your lowest price point, you still seem to put love into your instruments, and you seem to want to have that line throughout the price points up to your very top. Yeah. That anyone who walks away with an Ibanez, let's say RG, is going to get an RG, not something 100%. That looks like an RG.
100%. I mean, this is why we have like 12 people at our QC that are setting up the guitars, and even the guys here, Ollie and Mark, they have been preparing all these guitars.
He's behind us.
Yeah, he's behind us. They've been preparing all these guitars for 2 or 3 hours, and just to make sure that even a $299 guitar plays almost as nice as a, I don't know.
And when you say he doesn't mean the guitars at the show, you mean all the guitars that come in.
Of course.
To 𝗏𝗏 in Germany, Ibanez distributor for you.
Of course, all the guitars are being checked. But my point was that also here we're trying to make every guitar play as nice as possible, and this is the mission that we have. And I know it sounds corny, but really, this is like a dear mission that I have. I want that if you purchase a guitar, no matter if you're a 60-year-old blues lawyer and you spend $7,000 on a guitar, or if you're a 7-year-old kid that spends €200 on his hard-earned money, I want when they open the case or the cardboard box, I want them to have a smile on their face. And this is, I know it sounds corny, but this is what I actually tell our people, And I told them just the other day.
Moment, right?
It's
moment
that moment.
You connect
Correct.
with it, and therefore,
Correct.
For me, that pushes you through those moments where guitar is hard.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let the guitar down. And it is a connection between a person and an instrument.
100%. And if the guitar is not right, then chances are very high that you're not going to follow that path. You just, you'll just put it aside because it just doesn't feel right. And actually, we receive a lot of good feedback from people that sending us emails. Oh, thank you very much. I bought the guitar. I like it. And I always print that out and put it at the wall at our QC so they can really see the feedback and read that. And
that's really lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as you said, Dan, you haven't decided who gets to sell these yet, and furthermore, who gets to buy them.
Correct.
But I will put links underneath the video to 𝗏𝗏, I guess, Ibanez, and...
Yeah, either to the website or maybe we can update it with the shops that have it available.
Maybe it'll be available by then, by 2025 when I edit this video. There is an immense smell of popcorn right now, and I am so distracted. So we're going to finish it there. Thank you for your time, mate.
You're welcome.
And more videos in this playlist somewhere and more Ibanez for you. I will see you in the next one. I held your hand then, sorry. Bye.